Welcome, welcome, welcome. I bought this tarot deck for $12 at Big W. What do I think of it? I'll tell you in a minute because I haven't really looked at it. But let's just start. For $12, you know, it's a great start, isn't it, for a tarot card deck? Instead of paying $50, $60, $70, you know, like it's a good start to buy a deck that you can utilize and I guess shuffle and not worry about any damage. You know, it's a budget type of deck. On the reverse here, it's from Elevate Hinkler. It says here, allow the tarot to support and guide your life's path. The 78 tarot cards in this kit will help you communicate seamlessly with the universe. Preparing you for what lies ahead, the 64-page book will explain the meaning behind the cards and teach you how to perform and interpret tarot readings, bringing insight, personal, spiritual and professional situations. And you can see on the reverse here, there is a picture of the cards. I'm seeing this more and more in decks, that you're actually getting an insight to what the cards actually look like. So let's have a look. Let's open it up. Well, we can open it up. I've already taken the cards out, so they fit snugly in there. Let's see what this deck is all about. So you get the guidebook. The guidebook, you know, it's not that thick. It's truly not that thick, but for $12, what do we expect? Pip decks. Okay, so what you have here, let's have a look at the contents here. What do we get for $12? So we get the contents, we get the intro about the tarot cards, how you do a reading, how you ask a reading, the history and the origin of tarot. Interesting. I haven't really seen this a lot in a lot of my decks, so it's interesting how this is in there. It's an individual practice. It's got to be treated with respect, with ancient wisdom. Follow your own feelings, follow your own desires. Reading the tarot. Before you begin to do a reading, clear your mind of all thoughts. Shuffle the deck, then take the cards from the top of the deck and place them on the table. Working from left to right, the tarot cards all have meanings, and these need to be considered in relation to where they fall in a spread, the place where the cards fall, or a position during reading. The position in which the card falls helps you give the message of the tarot. Beautifully said. You know, I feel like it's great. The cards, what they are, 78 cards, a traditional deck. It says, protect yourself against the wrong information being given to you by the spirit guides. And then you've got the major arcana, which is the 22 cards. Very simplistic, you know, very simplistic details here. You're getting a one line here. Now, when I was selling my house, I put away all my decks and I worked with two decks. One deck only had a little white book, and I only recently found out what a little white book was about. And it's pretty much very similar. So, you know, for me, I actually really like the condensed explanations of a card, because then you start to question being quite new, and then you see where this meaning fits into you. So at the end of this, I'll do a reading for myself and we'll see what happens. So I've done the Chariot. I showed all my Chariot card decks off. Movement of Resonance, interesting. Journey, victory over a situation or problem, balancing opposite polarities, and that's where you get the white and dark in that card, the Chariot. So I like it. I'm quite vibing with this deck. I know a lot of people don't like pip decks, but for me, I don't know, I enjoy the less information the better for me. So there's getting a direct, simple sample readings. And then we've got the minor arcana. So the minor arcana is just, it's not pictures, it's normally just the number of the card there, a bit like the old-fashioned, you know, I'd love to just read with a pack of cards. I mean, that to me would be my goal. So there we go. We've got the Page, Knight, Queen, and King of Swords. One thing I like about this deck already is I like the way that they've kept swords, wands, cups, and pentacles. I find that really confusing with a lot of decks now. They tend to change that a lot. And then what do you got? Celtic Cross Spread. Sample readings. So this is actually giving you can pull these cards out and work out how they read it. There's an explanation here. Very interesting. So here it is, cards 1 and 2. Bob is turning his boat out of troubled waters. Better days ahead, which can lead to a celebration very soon. The true tarot is symbolism. It speaks no other language and offers no sign. So, interesting. Talks about numerology. So if you're into your daily inspiration spread, and then it's got the sample reading, glossary of the cards. So that is the booklet. So let's dive in. Let's have a look at the cards themselves. They are in order. I have not looked at them as yet. Nice size. I quite like this size, the thin size. I find that I shuffle a lot easier with them. As you can see with the pip decks, you've got the numbers 2, 3, 4 of Cups, money fluctuation, being offered something you may not want. So it's really direct, you know, like very direct meanings here. So we'll go through, there we go, the King of Cups. Now this is what I like. Because for me, not knowing the tarot and explanations, I remember having a tarot reading when I was 20, and the lady used to write for Women's Day, a big publication, and I remember her, and you know, she just used to fling the cards on the ground, and she said, you're going to marry a Taurus, he's going to be blonde, da 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 da, and at the time I hadn't met my husband, and yes, I did marry a Taurus, yes, I had 2 kids that she said I'll have a Sagittarian, and I think she said Capricorn, but I actually had an Aquarius, no, she said Aquarius, but I actually had a Capricorn child, so she was very close. You're going to move interstate. And I would really love, for my vision on reading tarot, I would really love to learn about the man over 25 years. And I'd also really love to learn about star signs and getting people's star signs. So, you know, guys, you know when you have that one tarot reading and it just knocks you off your feet, and it will always sit with you. That reading will always sit with me. She was amazing. Somebody that I really look up to. She's passed over now. Her name was Dawn Rawlings. Amazing, amazing lady. And then we've got the Major Arcana here. So for some reason we've got the Cups there, and then we've got the Major Arcana, the Fool, the Magician. So then we've got like, it's very simple, you know, very simple. But let me go through this deck very, very quickly. The Hermit, check him out. Wheel of Fortune's a flower with what do you call them? Leap pads. Justice, the Elephant. Interesting. This will be interesting. So let me just shuffle these through really quickly. For $12, what a great budget deck. Okay, let's work with this. Maybe I should work with this a bit deeper. So then you've got the Pentacles are green. So you've got the Page, the Knight here, young man to 25 years, visitors, messages to share, woman over 25. So I'm going through the Swords. So you can see, you know, just shuffling through. If you need to see this deck more clearly, you can slow me down and put me on slow speed, but I don't think you'll need to. Let me pause this. Let me do a... I'm going to insert my readings from TikTok in this recording so it gives you an idea about the cards. Boo-doo-boo! Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. In today's video, we are going to be using my $12 purchase from Big W. Can you imagine the $12 purchase? So let's see how this deck reads. Let's see how we're going to utilize it. It does come with a little guidebook, but I've noticed the guidebook it says exactly what's on the card. So let me just check the Major Arcana. Yes, it is. So we don't even need the guidebook. Let's throw away the guidebook and just see what we get from these cards. Hey, welcome on in. If you like a card, Abby, let me know, sweetie. I'm doing a bit of a shuffle. What does Abby need to know? I ordered from Big W, yeah. You know what else I got from Big W? This deck. The Modern Goddess. Have you seen me use this one? I used this one last night. It's quite... Alright. Money problems. Turning your back and walking away, knowing nothing more can be done. Does that make sense with you? Money losses. All is not lost if you look behind you have something to salvage. And inner strength, confrontation with other people. Okay, so let's just see what we've got. Yeah, this one just... I feel like when you do spend money, I feel like you don't, it's like 3, 2, 1, let's do it, you know, so just be mindful of any, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, you know, this is always just tarot entertainment readings. I just feel like, look at how much things are worth. I feel like you're looking at speculating. So I don't know whether you're looking at investing or something like this, but it just feels it's speculating. And they always say the bottom of the deck is really about the theme of the reading, and the bottom of this deck here is plans, hopes, wish cards. So that does fit in with spending money, you know, like obviously your dreams, putting forwards, invest money into our house. Yeah, let me just see. And that is a speculation because we're looking about, and this is about good things, happiness, celebration. Funny how you've got them all cups, so it's all emotional. It's like an emotional spending, you know. Are you spending money to compete with other people? Because this is a feeling of or has somebody around you recently done renovations and you're looking at enhancing it simply because of that? Because that's the feeling that I get here. So I don't know whether we've got this the same, but there's a feeling of enhancing it. Maybe you've seen somebody else do this, like I can do it better. There may be a bit of competition here, so just be very mindful if that's the reasoning why you're spending the money on the house here, you know. My husband's sister's building a new home. Aha, there you go. So we've got to be careful here about why are you looking at renovating now? Is it to sort of keep up with the Joneses? You know what I mean? You know, like this is the feeling that I've got here. And I'll pick the next card. I don't know whether this relates to your husband, over 25, business, arrogance and powerful. So I don't know whether he's wishing to do this more than yourself because he feels like the man about the house, you know, like doesn't want to look defeated, you know, like, and it is exciting when someone's building, but we've got to pay off those bills. So it is really about, you know, like just be mindful about any spending, okay? And you know how it says here about the strength here, it says confronting yourself or other people. This may be why we've got this renovation issue, because you're being forced into seeing and hearing your sister about building a new house and look what you're doing, and you're saying what we're all thinking, yes. This is what we've sort of got to be careful of here. So just, you know, just take a step back, you know, like take a breather about these money things, you know, because yeah, just take a step back, just watch and wait and see, you know, just don't chase somebody else's dreams here, you know, just be mindful about this, you know, just be very, very mindful about this, about the spending of money, because with this here, someone's going to get exhausted, and I don't know whether it's about paying money, working and stuff like this, but there will be a break maybe in finances, or there'll be a break because somebody's tired. So just keep that in mind, sweetheart. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. It's just a $12 deck from Big W we're reading, but that's what we've got for you. Anonymous. Guys, with this deck, this new deck here, you don't need the guidebook because the guidebook says exactly what these cards say on them. It says work frustrations, hard work needing to be done either at work or situation. We've got the bottom of the card here is another number 7. All that glitters is not gold. Look beyond the clouds. So that is the theme of the reading. And then we have arguments, battles around you. Ooh. And then we have Wheel of Fortune, elevation of money, completion phrases. So let's just see what we have with this deck here. You know what I feel like this is? Are you working? Because there's a feeling of working, what your feet, well, this might relate to your husband. There's a feeling of, is he sort of bored at his work? Because there's a feeling of turning up, going back, turning up, going back, turning up, going back, turning up, going back. You know what I mean? And I feel like constantly going to and from work, to and from work, to and from work, to and from work, to and from work. I feel like it's never ending. I feel like he's just on this backward, forward, working. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's sort of stuck. Yes. Okay. There's a feeling of just, you know, when we're going through this same old, you know, because we've got to be mindful about here, because this is all about money improvement. So is he looking for more money with work? Because this is also to the theme of the reading. The theme of the reading is look beyond the clouds, money improvements. And we've also got the elevation and money. Okay. I do feel like your husband, is he overworked and underpaid? Because that's the feeling that I'm getting from these cards. There's a constant go back, go forward, go back, go forward, go back. Just really a lot of work, you know. I just feel like maybe the conditions aren't the best there at work, that there's a feeling of boredom here. So make sure that you vibe up your weekends. Yes, he got promoted recently, so this is where the hard work is, and this is where the money advancement. I presume he got an advancement with his promotion. But there's a feeling of make sure that you do something on the weekend. Make sure that you break up this momentum, because he's just constantly back forward. I feel like that's how he feels. That's all he's got in his life is his work. You know, I feel like he wants more out of life. And it's very self-destructive. I just feel like the stress that it is husband themed. I just feel like, you know, we've got to get on top of this, have some fun, break the momentum, you know. And I do feel like easy come, easy go here. So I don't know whether this relates to the work position or whether there's something that you're missing out on an opportunity, but there's a feeling of easy come, easy go, you know, like that's the feeling that I have here, you know. And I don't know whether this is about somebody around you that perhaps is their relationship. They're saying that it's really solid. Maybe they just started dating, but there is a feeling of they maybe were thinking of breaking up, but there's a feeling of getting over the hump. So I don't know whether this relates to you or whether this relates to somebody around you, but there's definitely about a relationship here, about somebody, maybe they were going to end it, but they've decided to give it another go, or they had a break and they've decided to persevere with their relationship. Does this make sense with somebody around you? And there's a feeling of what works for one doesn't work for all. So I don't know whether somebody in this relationship, I'm like that with my sister, yes. So I don't know whether that's somebody's looking at other people's relationships and thinking that's the way theirs should be, because there's a feeling of definitely, okay, this is the feeling of the ending of the relationship, and this is the feeling of somebody getting stronger. Thank you, Kaz. That's the feeling that I've got here, okay? And then we've got the 3 of Pentacles, and this is really about improving. You know, this is where I just feel like this relationship, there's a feeling of they were going to end it, but they've decided to keep going with it. They're seeing things in a different way, and they're working on their relationship. Does that make sense? There's a definite feeling of somebody going up and down with their relationship. They definitely were going to end it, but they've decided to stick with it and work at it and improve in it. You know, this is what I feel like. I feel like they're going to go through the long haul and go through the test of time. This is what I really feel like. You know, I feel like that they've sort of surrendered to the way of, gosh, if I'm divorced or this is going to cost me this, I don't really want to be like this. Let's work on this. So they're seeing the bigger picture. Okay, does this make sense? Because there is a definite feeling with the relationship here. You know, unless it's your sister and she's, you know, was going to divorce, but there's a definite feeling of working on it, you know, not giving up, working on it and seeing things. The Hangman's always about seeing things from a different perspective. You know, that's the feeling that we've got. You know, we want to put him upright. I always want to put the Hangman upright, but there's a definite feeling of seeing things in a different way, you know. And, you know, it's quite interesting because the theme of this was all that glitters is not gold, and perhaps they were looking at other people's relationships. Let's do, yes, thank you, yes. All right, so let me just shuffle, guys. Which deck here is $12, big W, $12. All right. Let's look at the bottom. See the theme first. The theme is legal situation of document police, finding out the truth in the matter and affecting the balance. So this is all about truth, okay? And I hear here, be firm, but be strong, okay? That's the theme of the reading. So we're looking at the bottom of the deck. Now the top of the deck, let's see whether we get this for. Ace of Swords, frustration, double-edged sword, and hollow victory. Ooh. Then we've got all major cards so far. The 4, good friends, happiness, needed to take a giant leap forward. Ooh. And the King of Swords, man over 25, cold, abrasive, demands respect. Okay, so let's just see what we've got for you, Kaz. All right. Do you know what I feel like? I do feel like there is a feeling of battling some situation here, because there's a feeling of winning isn't everything. That's what I feel like, and it's quite interesting. We've got the double-edged sword, the hello victory, and that's what I feel like. Are you looking or working hard at something or to try and prove a point? Because there's a feeling about this. There's a real feeling of giving up, not constantly trying to push your point of view, because we've got this feeling of knowing that, understanding that, moving forward, seeing that you don't have to do this. You know, there's a feeling of embracing this situation. You know, we can fight guys with all we want, but sometimes it's best to just turn the other cheek. You know, that's the feeling that I've got here, and it could be with a man. You know, it could be somebody who you're constantly fighting or bickering with, who's abrasive, who's just frustrating. Are you frustrated by somebody and you're deciding like, freaking hell, I don't want to keep fighting with this person. It's just too much energy, a waste of time, you know? And I feel like this maybe relates to work, because I feel like I don't want to go to work, you know? Like I just feel like I don't want to go to work with this person. That's what I feel like. So just let me know if this all makes sense. Because it's a feeling of, I'm so glad I did that. So there's a feeling of, I'm so glad I stopped fighting, you know? Like I'm so glad I gave up. Because it was just draining the life out of me. Kind of, I don't work currently, but kind of, I have a dispute with the police, with the man. Oh, what do we say here? Police. Bing, 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 bing. You guys are loving these cards. And a man, somebody who's demanding respect, but there's a feeling of, you know, like sort of giving up the fight here, you know, like I just feel like, oh, it's just so exhausting, you know, like I just feel like, you know, but debating on whether to go through with it or not. Yes, there's a feeling of turning the other cheek, you know what I mean, rising above this. Again, I'm not here to give you any legal advice or anything like this. It's a $12 deck from Big W, but there's a feeling of turning the other cheek to be happy. You know what I mean? This is a feeling about, do you guys see this? We go, ooh, you know, but there's a feeling of moving on, you know, like moving on. A peacock's very lucky. They say you should keep peacock feathers in the lounge room, in the living room, but there's a feeling of moving on, you know. This peacock here is fluffing himself up. He wants a bit of attention. He wants to go on and on and on about it, but there's a feeling of really being a best friend to yourself. That's what I've got here, sweetheart. So if you're debating, I really hope that this sort of makes sense with you, you know, like, because I feel like your relationship's probably going to be affected by this, you know. That's what I feel like. I feel like all of this situation's going to cramp somebody's style, you know, like. But that's what I've got for you. That's what I've got for you. So you have to question yourself, is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth it? So that's for you, Kaz. That's for you. Question it. Is it going to be worth it? That's the big, big question, sweetie. It really makes sense. Thank you so much. No worries. Takes a lot of strength to turn the other cheek. Ben, I need to know. What do we get for you, Ben? You said you got this deck. Short journey, movement to water. 2 of Wands is always about balance. The Chariot, movement of residence. So we both got these 2 movements going on here. And the third one, undecided, need to take a step out of the situation to see more clearly. And let's look at the bottom of the deck, the Tower. Normally the Tower card is something that happens unexpectedly. It happens at rapid pace. Okay, so let's just see what we have. You know what I feel like? There's a feeling of you not knowing what to do with yourself. So did you have to give up something because of injury, or did somebody around you have to give up something because of injury? You have to move house that's surrounded by you that perhaps hurt themselves and they had to get a house that is easier to live in. There's a feeling of somebody really hates that they moved, and they moved because of something that either happened or something that either came up. Did your father have a work injury and have to moving because of circumstances or a situation? And I don't feel like they didn't like it, and I feel like they didn't discuss it with you first. I just feel like they hurt somebody's feelings because they moved and somebody wasn't included in the conversation. That's the feeling that I'm getting from these cards. It was a while ago, but we had to move here for work-related injuries and he hated it. Yes. All right, spot on. So there's a feeling of, and I feel like, would you understand that people are hurt because he didn't have a discussion with people? There's a feeling of he made this decision without discussing it with people. You know, he sort of made it like, I feel like he's really disappointed in himself. He's quite emotional about it. There's a definite feeling of he could be quite emotional about this move because he feels like he let himself down, you know, and he just feels like he's not worthy. So you need to have, I just feel like crying. I just feel like I'm just so emotional, you know. I just feel like this move here has really rocked him, unfortunately. It's really like, you know, I make a decision, and maybe your dad is not somebody who will talk, but there's a feeling of he needs a lot of support. He needs to know that he's okay. He needs to you know, like see maybe you need to talk about it, or maybe you need to find some things that he's interested in and take him out and just sort of lift the mood. This man here, he really needs some support right now emotionally, because he's just really like emotional. And you know, this is the thing about guys, but your dad, does he keep it all in? Because there's a feeling of oh gosh, what have I done? You know, like you know, he probably, if he'd spoke about it to other people, and maybe they would have helped make the decision, but he was just he was blinded by the truth, basically. Does this all make sense? You know, making all is not lost. That's what I'm hearing here. All is not lost. So maybe if you can get in touch with him and let him see different things, you know, like have a look, join the community pages, see what's around there, get some ideas about different things that perhaps your dad liked, or, you know, just try and talk about the positive things, you know, like, and he just feels like he made a big mistake. He just feels like he made a big mistake. So we've got to make sure that we make him aware that he hasn't, really make him aware that he hasn't. What was the bottom of here? Look. And this is, how fantastic this card deck is. Catastrophe, accidents, things happen really quickly. So this is why your dad moved, it was sort of pushed upon him, but that's what you've got. You've got to get in touch with your dad, communicate with your dad, and really let him know all is not lost. Let him see the good things. But just really spend some time with him, because I just feel like emotionally it's been really draining on him about this move. Okay, that's what I've got for you, sweetheart. I know it wasn't the information, but Spirit will pop in. They'll tell us what we need to hear in order to help others as well. All right, Chandra, I've got a new deck. It was $12. I'll do a reading. Okay, Caitlin. The Sun card. You got a rooster. Marriage, happiness, and bright prospects. It's 11-11. It's 2-11 here. 3 of Swords, deception, frustration, jealousy, and broken heart. And 2 of Wands, movement to near water, short journey. Okay. Okay. And I feel like this person, there's a feeling of words have no meaning. So I feel like, I don't know why, but is somebody talking to you and it has no depth, or they're not following through with what they say? Maybe their words and actions are very differently. I just got back with my ex, yes. Yeah, that's the feeling that I get here. And would you understand that their words and actions, they need to synchronize, Okay, is someone drinking? There's a feeling of somebody stone cold sober now. I don't know whether there's drug, alcohol. There's a feeling of they made a promise that they weren't going to do it as strongly, or weren't going to do something like this. Very jealousy and cheating involved. Have they made a promise about drinking and giving up drugs or something? There's a feeling of this. This person likes to live on the edge. That's what I'm hearing in the song. Yes, promise no more drugs. They like living on the edge. And you know what? It's costing them a lot of money. It's costing them a freaking fortune, this habit of drugs. They can't afford it. So they need to pick a freaking drug that they can afford. If there's such a thing, but there's a feeling of they can't afford it. Sweetie, you know what I'm hearing? Banged up abroad. They can't stop. They can't stop. And this is journey over water. They're going away. He wants to go over road truck driving. Well, if he's looking at selling drugs or taking in drugs or something like that, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. This is it says here, official building or official situation. To me, that would mean if he's looking at, Chandra, if he's looking at doing that, there's a definite feeling of that's probably where he will get stuck. This is so accurate shot. He needs a lot of guidance and fixing with himself, yeah. Because there's a feeling of this is where he'll end up. He could end up in freaking jail here. Is he up to 25? And look, we've got visitors. Has he got someone in jail that he knows? Because look at this, all that glitters is not gold. Somebody's been led astray. He turned 25 yesterday. Has he got somebody in jail that he knows? Because there's a feeling of, that won't happen to me, I'm not that stupid. Did somebody get caught doing drugs and they've had to do time, or they're on probation? Because there's a feeling of, I'm not that dumb. Well, guess what, buddy? You're not that freaking bright either. Because it's a feeling of somebody... He's not taking any notice. Yes, he has friends, and yes, he needs to get it's his time, will not be far from it, And you know what? I don't know whether somebody's going to dob him in. He's asleep, but I so wish he was awake. You'll have to record this. Actually, I'll put it up on my profile. I don't know whether this guy here or this person in jail is angry with someone dobbing him in, but there's a feeling of this, and also too, somebody around him, if not him, is going to have heart issues. That's the feeling that I've got. Look at that, all that glitter is not gold. This guy here, he needs a huge wake-up call. He has to do it himself, and he's old enough. 25, he's old enough. He needs to grow up. I tried to keep him sober and took him to rehab, met him in rehab. I was a worker. Oh, sweet, it's really angry, doesn't he? Because there's a feeling of he needs to blow off steam. I got diagnosed with the heart issue. Leaky valve, oh, sweetheart. You're hearing lurch, or is he really tall? This blows up. He's 6 foot, yes. I've got lurch here. I've got, he's angry. Gee, we're ripping him to pieces. But he needs to grow up. And you have to watch what you say around him. And would he like somebody to feel that way? Would he like to feel that he has to watch what he says to somebody because they're afraid of their reaction? Or would he prefer somebody that you're able to talk to and speak to them and they're not going to overreact? Because I feel like this guy overreacts all the time. Sweetheart, you know, you've worked in rehab, you know all the help, you know about ADD, you know about freaking drugs, you know, like, you know, I don't know whether he plays sport or whatever, but there's a feeling of this guy needs to learn how to manage his emotions and anger, and he's you know, 25, he needs to grow up and learn about that. He's the drama queen in the relationship. Yeah, and it's like you walk on eggshells, and you've got that heart issue here, you know, but there's a feeling of, sweetie, you've got to really look at this. But he is definitely, he's that close to getting caught, and someone's going to dob him in. And you know what? Or unless it's this person here feels like they were dobbed in and they're still holding it. It's like somebody is not going to hold themselves accountable. They're going to blame it on somebody else. Why did you do that to me? I was going to do this. I was going to give up. I was going to, it's always I was gonna, you know. But that's what you've got. Is this worth it? That's what you've got to ask yourself. You know, look, it says here, you're on top of the situation. You're able to overcome your frustration. You need to take a step out of the situation. You will see more clearly. And there's peace. So you really need to look at this relationship and see whether it's worth it for you, darling.